Welcome, lovely listeners, to Soul Stirred, stories of growth and the human experience. I'm Emily Garcia.
And I'm Casey Clark.
We will be your guides on this journey. We are so glad you are here.
Each week we'll come together, sometimes with other incredible thinkers, creators, and adventurers, to generously share stories of self-discovery, recovery, triumph, and what it means to live a life on purpose.
No matter where you are in your own journey, connection is here for you at Soul Stirred.
Settle in, take a deep breath in, and let's inspire each other.
Welcome to Soul Stirred. We talked about asking for help.
Yes, I need help.
Yeah.
Why are those words so hard to say?
Because they suck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I've spent my entire life feeling like don't ask for help.
Mm-hmm. Well, partly that's a trauma response.
Yeah.
Hyper independence when we get on with thinking, I can do this myself. I can figure it out myself. I don't need anybody. Usually, for me, that's coming from people who have learned not to count on their people, from being let down so many times. It feels just so vulnerable to ask a person for help, depending on the person and the help. I think the thing that comes up for me is I guess I'm most afraid of what if I ask and you don't or can't help me?
Have you had that happen?
I would assume so, since I'm afraid of it happening. It seems like maybe it's happened at some point. Or is it a story I make up?
I know.
If I'm being honest, it may be a story that I make up before I've even reached for a person to say, I want your help or I need your help. I maybe go to a place of they're too busy for me. They won't want to hear from me. Their life is, well, that's another part of it is like, if I think about even you and me, right? And then if I'm in a moment where I might need your help, I could go to a place of like, oh, her life is so full and things are going really kind of fabulous. What I don't want is to bring her down into this dark place of me needing help. So I think my avoidance of it may be in part my trying to care for the other person.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I have the same thing where I'm like, well, I don't want to burden you with what is going on for me.
Right.
And then even as you said that, like, well, her life is so full, I don't want to bring her down. There is this part of me that goes, no, call, because that's exactly what I want to be there for. I don't want to be on the outside. I want to be included, to be able to show up. I don't know to show up if I'm not told.
If no one's asking.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that I love that point. And you take me to this other point where I learned in a relationship. Someone said to me, you know that when you won't let me love you, it hurts me. And what occurs to me in the context of this conversation is not reaching for help or allowing people to help you when you are in need is an extension of refusing to be loved.
It's self-protection. If I don't let you let me down, which is, maybe you're going to love me if you show up, but maybe I'm going to protect myself because I'm not even going to give you the chance to show me you don't love me, when that's not what it means if someone doesn't show up, but that's what it feels like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's, there's also this reciprocity that you're kind of describing inside of a relationship where if I am never asking you for help, the one time you need help, you're likely not going to reach for me to get it, right?
Yeah.
Because we make up these stories. Like if I'm the only one that ever needs the help, and she's not asking me back, well, then I don't want to bother her. This is the thing. I think we're getting close to the problem in like the world that is creating the disconnection that we all have. When you sit in a place of protection, you prevent yourself from being enrolled into connection.
And it ping pongs. Because I think about when I got Maverick. Right when I got him, Adam was going out of town and I had so many things going on. I had already signed up to go on a retreat and I went, oh crap, what am I going to do with him? I don't want to burden anyone. Who do I ask? And then I had long days at work. I couldn't take him to work with me yet because he was a puppy with shark teeth, and it was not a good idea to take him because he was barking and trying to bite everyone. And so then I'm like, well, who am I going to ask for help? Totally stressed myself out rather than saying, can someone help me?
Yeah.
I was stressing out and like trying to block off, okay, I have 20 minutes. I'm going to run home. I'm going to let him out real quick. And then I'm going to run back to work. And then I'm going to go do this thing. And it was like complete chaos for a couple of months.
And it sounds like hearing you tell that story, like there's subtext in it because I wouldn't ask someone to come and help me. Instead, I twisted myself into knots to make it
Hmm.
work, keep my commitment and take care of my new dog.
Yes.
And
And the
so
secondary thing going on in my mind was I can't ask anyone to help me because I don't have the time to help anyone else. So, how unfair to be the mooch who says, hey, Casey, can you come over and let my dog out? But if you ask me, I really can't.
yeah,
So then I don't ask at all.
what do you think about that now as you say it out loud?
It sounds kind of ridiculous, but also, if I was in the same situation again tomorrow, I would probably respond in the exact same way, even though I know logically it's silly.
Why do you think?
Because I feel like I have to have something to give if I'm asking.
Mhm. Mhm. And is that the truth?
Not immediately. Do you think in friendship, everyone has had a friend, quote unquote friend, where you're like, that person takes, takes, takes. And then you realize they have just totally like taken everything and returned your car on empty kind of thing. So it's in the back of my head to not be that person. But friendship, there is, and it's not at the same time. It's not completely equivalent. There are times where one friend needs a lot and the other person is giving, and then other times in life where it's the opposite. But it does feel like it needs to be more immediate in my mind if I'm asking.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, it's this there's this feeling sort of scorekeeping, right? And where it feels like it needs to be tit for tat. If you do something kind for me, I need to have the space to do something kind back for you. And yet we know that's not how healthy, thriving relationships work.
Yeah.
In the healthy, thriving relationships I have in my life, no one's keeping track.
Hmm.
It's just when my 100 can only be 40 or 50, you fill in that space with your 100, knowing that a day is going to come when your 100 can only be 40 or 50 and I'll need to fill your space, and that is both of us showing up as our best. Yeah, we know this and yet we don't behave in accordance with it.
What do you think is the hardest thing to ask for with help? Like,
Mm,
is it something tangible or is it something where it's like, I need a conversation? What comes to mind?
for me, it's such a great question. And for me, the hardest thing is emotional help. You remember the episode we created, My 6 Minute Friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to give a little background, I'm feeling some kind of downside way. I'm a little bit in the dark. I'm feeling really alone. Who can I call who will make 6 minutes for me to talk about how I'm feeling? And Emily and I agreed to be each other's 6 minute friends. Well, I know for sure that I have felt those feelings since we made that agreement. I also know for sure I haven't reached out to you to be my 6 minute friend.
Same.
So that's the thing. For me, that's the hard space is like, who in my life am I willing to let love me when I feel unlovable? And we're even turning up the volume on it a little bit because it's like, you're not asking, am I just willing to let you love me? You're asking, am I willing to ask you to make space and time to love me, to make the request for you to give me love now? That feels really vulnerable.
It does.
So vulnerable to the point that if I'm being honest, I don't, and this is why.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's so hard to do that, and then I do think about there are a couple of people who in the last year have sent me a message and said, "Hey, do you have a few minutes to chat? I'm having a hard time." And I'm so grateful they did,
Yeah,
and I haven't done it back to them.
notice that. Sort of the flip side of what you were just talking about with the dog care.
Yeah.
Who can I ask? I'm not gonna ask anybody because there's nobody I can do it back for because I don't have the time. I'm so grateful when someone reaches out to me to let me hold their heart, and yet I won't give mine back, or I don't.
Yeah.
We're alike in this way. I'm right here with you, and I'm sure that it is a story that I am making up inside my head and that it is not the truth of the people I am in relationship with, and yet the story goes, no one will want, like, no one will want me in this situation, in this circumstance, me in my dark, people don't want, and so why would I reach for what I assume will become rejection?
Yeah. That is totally a story.
Mhm,
Why do so many people have that? Because it's not just me and you. Almost all of my clients, well, the majority of my clients have a story similar to that.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, I can't speak for all of our clients, but I can assume that at some point in my life, there was a point where I needed help and people weren't there, and that got locked in to my wiring. I mean, I could tell you those stories. I remember some of them from my childhood, times when I had wrecked my bike on the side of the road and nobody was around to come. This is not to blame anybody or say anybody did anything wrong, but there are times when you're a kid where something hurtful or painful is happening, and the people that you know that you count on to care for you or protect you from those moments aren't around. And then I think the brain locks that in, like it drops it into one of its little cells to say, people aren't here when you need help. And so I guess for me, if I wanted to go forward in this way differently, I would need to be willing to reprogram, like to give someone the chance to help me when I'm hurting and let it go differently so that my brain can start writing a new story.
Yeah. Okay. So I know someone who's really good at that. She's really, really good at asking for help. She will call and say, "Hey, do you have a hammer? Can you come over? Can you bring this thing over?" I asked another friend, I have to go drop off my car at the dealership tomorrow. I asked another friend to pick me up, and then we had this great day. We went and we had coffee, and then I asked another friend if she could, help me book this trip because I've never traveled to this place and she's been there. And I hear it from her and I'm like, that is so cool. And I also get a knot in my stomach because I put myself in her shoes and go, I would have the hardest time asking all of these people to drive me around or take time and help me do this thing.
Yeah.
And it's exactly, she's so grateful to people. She appreciates them and she loves asking for help.
Wow.
She's the one person I know that loves asking for help and gets it, and people love helping her.
Wow. I I I respect it. And if I'm being 1,000% honest, as you were describing it, I got a little judgy, like, because that sounds like asking for help to the point of, like, needy.
Yeah,
I guess I judge that, which probably
yeah.
prevents me from being a person who asks for help.
Me too.
I don't want to appear too needy to people. There's gotta be a few things I can figure out in life on my own, right? And yet, it's like, I suppose there is a sweet spot of,
There
like
is a sweet spot
right?
because it's a mixed bag. It's kinda like I needed new tires, and so I took my car in a couple of weeks ago, and I had been like, "Adam's not gonna be able to go with me, and I'm not gonna be able to reach him while I'm there, and what if I make the wrong decision? Because then he's gonna go, 'Why did you decide to get those tires?' Or 'That was too expensive,' or 'Maybe you should have told them you were gonna hold off.'" And so I'm like, I put it off for 6 months longer than I should have.
Mhm,
But then when I was like, "I need help," he was like, "Emily, you can do this." And we talked about, like, what's the price limit?
mhm,
What are the kinds of tires? What
mhm.
am I willing to do? But I was mad at him then too. Like, "You're not gonna be there for me. I'm asking for help." So there are those moments when, like, I really could do it, but I wanted help.
Yes, and that is hard too. When you get to the point where you conjure up the courage to be the asker for help and then you don't get it, you get told how to help yourself, doesn't feel like help.
Yeah.
I
And,
was
like,
already
maybe he's right. Maybe I do need to help myself, but I don't want to. I want you to help me. I want you to go
exactly.
talk to the tire guys. Get the tires for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it really is. I remember, I think I shared this story with you once, in our leadership program that we went through, they did an entire, like, devoted a morning to an exercise about this. So we're in this program that the intent is to build us as leaders, like to access and emerge our inner leader. They blindfold us, put us in a maze, make us walk all around inside this maze and tell us there's only one way out of the maze. You'll know it when you find it. And if you don't find it, you have to stay. Well, we all wander around blindfolded inside this maze for what felt like a period of hours until we finally get to the end. And there's only two of us left inside this thing. And I'm one of them. And we get to take our blindfolds off and we discover the maze was a circle. It was ropes tied to a tree making a circle. So we could have just easily, exited. It wasn't even a maze. But B, the exit strategy was to ask for help. And of these 25 people, me and one other woman are still inside the thing because we hadn't figured our way out. We were walking in circles. It occurs to me that that likely was not the first time in my life that
Yeah.
I had been spinning in circles, and that the way out of the spin would have been to say to another person, "Will you please help me?" But that because before this lesson I couldn't do that, I think I spun a lot. Does it occur to you, I'm curious, like, is there something in your life right now where you could use a little help and you're avoiding asking?
Well, yes, and it is even with Tribe from the very beginning, I have been the everything. I've been the admin, the HR, the IT, the cleaning crew,
Yeah.
the designer, like you name it, that has been my role.
Mhm.
And this has been like 2 years in the making, and specifically the last 6 months has been about hiring an admin,
Yeah.
hiring someone and trusting that I can get someone who will help me. But I have trust issues. So that's part of why it's taking me so long. I mean, number 1, I'm like, can I afford to pay someone? And number 2, can I trust someone because
With
this is
some
a
of the
big
most important
deal.
parts of my
I mean,
business.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's my business, it's my baby, but there are 16 livelihoods on the line if I hire the wrong person who doesn't take it seriously and doesn't understand just how important it is. So I offered a position to someone. Very part-time, she's starting part-time, and hopefully over time it will increase. So, it's going to challenge me.
Yes.
She's starting in a couple weeks, and it's going to challenge me to actually give her things and ask for help. But even when I interviewed her, I said, "I have a hard time asking for help, so I need someone who can say, 'Emily, why are you doing that?' and help me see where I need it."
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully you and she'll build the kind of trusting relationship where she can also point out for you places where you could use help that you haven't even thought of yourself yet.
exactly.
But this is some of the trick.
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations. That feels
Thank
like
you.
huge growth. I super respect that growth in you. And then it feels like this is some of the trickery that gets in the way. It's like, what do you have a sense that you might need to release or let go of in order for this new admin to work for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've read all the books. It's like, who, not how, like get the right person and they're not going to do it the same way you do, but they're going to do it and it's going to be just fine. So like letting go. So
Yeah.
I know that, but I don't think I can know it until I do it.
Right. Right. It's really a human thing. What I'm about to say, I don't want anybody to feel any kind of disparaged when they hear it. But as human beings, we all need to feel like we have a handle a little bit on both the control and the power. Those are two parts of myself that I have learned over a lifetime that when I get sideways, where I've either given away too much of those control and power, or I am holding on to too much of either one of those. That's what gets me sideways. Those things I think want to be owned by each human being and with each human being. And it's so interesting because I think, especially right now in our world, we're at a time where people are behaving like power is a finite thing. Like if I share a little bit with you, then I have less and I want to have it all. And so I'm not willing to share any with you. That's actually bullshit.
It's complete bullshit.
Power, like love, is abundant. There's plenty for all of us to have some, and we don't have to hoard it in order to feel empowered or be a powerful human. In fact, I feel more empowered the more I share with others. That's the way I'm wired. But this is what I hear you alluding to in this conversation is I'm going to have to take some of that, which has been mine and rightfully so, because I am the founder and the owner and the developer and the builder and the creator and the CEO of this business. And now I'm going to learn how to share it with another person for my own benefit and the benefit of the growth of my business. It's
Mhm.
big growth on your part. I love it. I'm excited for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well, and professionally and personally, there are always parallels. I heard a guy speak over the weekend at an event, and he said, I work with business owners all the time. And he said, I can always tell the difference between a first generation business owner and a third generation business owner because the first generation is doing everything
Mhm.
and they won't let go. And a third generation, at that point, they have already made all of the connections and they have networked and they know who they trust and they give things to other people to do. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's me." Like I'm not a third. I have been a very much a first generation, but it's exact same in my personal life.
Yeah.
Like let other people do things. We all have to learn to let people do things, but we don't. I think the fear gets in the way of allowing other people to earn our trust because we assume the worst whether rather than assuming the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Which to me says that the place to begin is in building trust. You know, you have a new person come into a new job. Let's just riff on this example you brought up if we can. You have your admin come in. The human urge might be initially to go, here's a whole bunch of stuff that you can take on and start trying to do. Or we could slow that down and say, what do we need to build? What do you need? What do I need in order for trust to grow between us? And let's begin our relationship there so that when I hand off all of these things I've been doing myself, we both appreciate what a big risk that is for me.
Mhm.
And we both handle it in a way that makes more trust, not diminishes the trust we've already grown. And so this is things like that you might discover that you want that new admin to check in with you every once in a while, her first time handling some things that you've just recently let go of. These are structures that can be installed that help build trust.
Mhm.
And as we said before, asking for help is such a vulnerable thing. Well, you know what the medicine is for vulnerability? Trust.
Yeah.
The more
Yeah.
trust, and that's actually true too for me when I think about it in in the relationships in my life where I am willing to ask for help. It's because we have such solid trust. It's like if my inside voice could talk, what it would say is, I ask the people for help who have already earned the trust in me that I know they will respond in a way that feels like help.
What does that look like, earning trust? Like, how do you know someone is earning it?
I mean, I think trust is probably has different attributes for different people, what causes it to grow and what causes it to diminish. But in general, I think it has to do with being reliable and accountable and integrous and, you know, that you're the kind of person who does the kinds of things you say you're going to do and follows through. You're honest with yourself and others. You know, these are mine, but I think
Yeah.
everybody might have a different list or version, bullets that are like, here's how to behave if you want my trust. What I would like to say about it is I really used to be the kind of person where and I was proud of this. I give you my trust for free. And then it's up to you to lose it. Well, what I didn't realize about myself with that kind of operating procedure in life was that I was making myself available to a lot of hurt. Even in the setup, you can kind of hear it like, it's on you. You have all of my trust. So go ahead and hurt me and then you can lose it. It's like I was setting relationship up to do that.
Yeah.
The awakening or the learning moment for me came when I got that it's like really a good thing for me instead to be on the lookout for who has earned it, who has already behaved in a way that makes this relationship worthy of my trust.
Yeah.
That was a big mindset shift for me, almost like holding my own relationship with trust as a sacred thing that has way more value to it than something I would ever want to give away for free. Then from there, the decision about whether or not you get to hurt me gets to be entirely mine, which is very empowering.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good reframe.
Mhm. And from this place, I do ask people for help. This is interesting to unpack it this
Yeah.
way. When I
Yeah.
when I was giving trust away for free, I was way less hesitant or way more hesitant to ask other people for help. I thought I was the only person I could count on. Now that trust myself, I know that counting on others is the way to get through life.
I think of it as so all the bullet points that you named are on my list too, and I think of it almost like a bank account, like, okay, if we start with a 0 balance, I'm not giving you a big bank account, but we're starting here
Right.
and you make a deposit. Every little thing, like you call when you say you're going to call, you show up when you said like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming to your house for dinner." You show up. You check on me because you know that I was having a hard day. Like all those little things are deposits. And the trouble with trust is it takes lots of little tiny deposits to build it up, but it's really easy to empty out a bank account and to go into the red and go, like, that's where the betrayal happens. So, I think, like, okay, so in my first marriage, I was betrayed, and I had a negative bank account, and I didn't believe anything, I didn't trust him, and then came along Adam, and I didn't have a negative bank account with him, he had a 0 balance, but he was able to earn my trust,
Mhm.
and occasionally, it did feel a little bit like it was a negative account because I would say to him, "I know this isn't because of you that I'm feeling this way, but this thing is coming up for me."
Yeah.
And he could make a big deposit in those moments because then he would go, "I'm so sorry. Did I do that? What can I do differently?" And because he didn't make me feel like, "What? Why are you blaming me?" He wasn't defensive at all.
Yeah.
And he would say, "What can I do to make you feel better? What can I do next time?" It was like a big deposit. And so then he earned this trust that I didn't even know that I could have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like what you're describing is like I wasn't even aware of my capacity for trust until this trustworthy person came to me and got in relationship with me and showed me the depths of my trust well. Yeah, I love that, and also way to go, Adam. Such emotional
Yeah,
intelligence,
I
not needing
know.
because how normal and how human of you to maybe make his earning effort a little harder, given your first husband drained the bank account maybe more than once. You know, that's human. We do sometimes bleed in a new relationship from wounds that were caused in a previous one. We don't intend to, but it happens. It's part of the human experience. And you're absolutely right. In order for the reprogramming to happen, I need the other person to meet me differently than the one who drained the bank account on trust. And so, yay for him for not getting defensive, but just seeing that this was a wound of yours and asking you, how can I help it to heal? I love him for that.
I know. I love him for that too. Because it's like, okay, so if you've been betrayed and you feel jealous, jealousy is a human emotion. We
Mhm.
all have it, but it is the one that no one wants. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing to go, I feel jealous.
Yeah.
And it's a rare thing, but when I have said, I don't know where it's coming from. I know that this is me, but I feel jealous. He handled this so well. Just being curious and going like, okay, how can I make you feel better? So there are things that we can all do, but I think if you think about your account, what are the things you need? I need someone to have a conversation and be curious with me. And I need someone to, if plans change, to tell me, to be
Mhm.
like, hey, this is what happened. Send me a text. Like, those are really, really big things for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And another big one for me, yes to the ones you just said, and also being able to hold information. I trust people who do not feel the need to share my story when they're not with me.
Yeah.
Like, hold on to that. Like, it's a precious thing I gave to you. I gave you a part of my heart in that conversation, and I hope that you would treasure that, not use it to empower yourself in whatever next setting you're in, as if me and my life and my heart are the only content for your conversation, you know? So holding a vault like that, like being a person who can hear parts of my story and hold it with me really grows trust in me. And then I'm curious, I'm kind of going back to your Adam example. How are you with asking him for help?
Overall, better than I used to be. But I'm still there are times where I'm like, well, I could just pull up a YouTube video and, Google it and do it myself.
Myself, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like you said, it goes back to trauma and going, well, if I can't depend on someone else, I'll just do it. And is that really what's happening? Can
Yeah,
I not depend on him? No, I can. And sometimes he can't do it right away. Sometimes life is just lifing
yeah,
and I can ask him. So this is where I get into trouble. If I ask him and he says, yes, I'll do that. And then time goes on
but he doesn't do it fast
and
enough.
he doesn't do it fast enough, I do it. And then he's like, "Why did you do that?" I said I would do it. And I'm like, "Well, because I want it done." And so that is a thing I do. Like, fine, I'll just take care of it.
Also guilty. Also guilty, especially as the, traumatized child and figuring out things all on my own. And this is sort of what I was alluding to at the beginning. I feel like I have a responsibility as a citizen of our relationship that if I've asked him for help, it's now up to me to hold myself still and allow him the space that he needs to give me the help that I just asked for. Because it feels a little bit like a double blind kind of setup otherwise. Like I asked you for help, you didn't act fast enough, so I went and did it myself. Now I've sort of disparaged both of us and our relationship and our trust for future interactions, right?
Yeah.
Instead, I think this is what I was kind of whiffing around when I talked about power and control, because it's like, okay, I asked you for your help. Now I'm going to manage my need for control and allow you to help me in your time at your pace.
Am I willing to do that? Because
Are
I
you?
also don't wanna be a nag. I don't
Right.
wanna nag you.
Right. Are you going to do it now? Are you going to do it later? Otherwise, I need to back up and have the inside conversation with myself before I ask him for help. That's like, do I need this done right now? Because he's busy. So if I need it done right now, maybe I should try to figure out how to do it on my own. And I don't need to bring him into it at all, because otherwise we've created this little mess inside of our relationship where now I've asked him for something and he feels like he's letting me down. And he hasn't let me down. It's just that he didn't move as fast as I wanted him to move. And so now that's back to being a me issue. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But the way my brain works, I wanna check it off my list.
Right. Right.
Where is that sweet spot? Because I want it done quickly, so it's not one of a part of my mental load that I'm carrying around and going, "Oh, that's not done. That's not done. That's not done." But also, how can I let it
Yeah.
and wait?
Right. I think it probably depends on what the thing is, right?
Yeah.
If it can really wait. But I love the conversation that we've had because it brings up all of these questions. These are really good things to think about in situations, in relationship situations. I think it lands at this question of like, how do I want to be a good citizen of this relationship? And knowing that we are all always first in relationship with ourselves before we even reach out for who do I want the other person to be and what kind of impact do I want to have on them. Ask those questions first about you and you. Am I being a good citizen of relationship to myself? I think the point about asking for help is very relevant to this question, because if I'm being good to myself, if I'm holding myself with love and grace and compassion, then help is not a dirty thing. Recognizing that none of us are built to get through this hard thing called life alone. We're built to get through it together. And so we weren't meant to figure it all out on my own. That's programmed. That's learned behavior.
Yeah.
If you're one of those people who thinks to have this done right, I have to do it myself, recognize that you learned that somewhere along the way. That is not your innate way of being. Innately, we are meant to be connected with each other and to let each other love. You know, I love you and I let you love me back by reaching for you at times when it's become hard to be me and hard to be by myself. Whether that's functionally hard or emotionally hard or mentally hard, it doesn't matter where the hard came from. The hard isn't even what it's about. The human connection is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good end to this. I love you, so I'll let you reach for me. I'll ask you to reach for me.
Yeah. It's thinking about, what do we really mean when we say I love you? What do those words mean? To me, it's like, it means you have a place in my heart. Anything that you could ever, and I'm saying this to you, Emily, anything that you could ever need, long for, want in life, where you need another person in order to get closer to the thing that you're wanting or longing for, you can count on me to be that person. Without judgment, without condition, without payback or reciprocity. It's what I mean when I say to someone, I love you. It's sort of like subtextually, there's a request that goes, let me be here for you because I love you and I will handle you with great care.
Thank you. And I love you.
I love you back. Stirred listeners, thank you so much for joining us today as we bring you stories of growth in the human experience. We appreciate you, and we have a request for you. If you will, take 30 seconds to do these 3 things for us. 1, follow or subscribe to Soul Stirred Podcast. This makes sure you never miss an episode and helps us to make sure you never miss an episode. Head over to your preferred platform, click the Soul Stirred Podcast show page, and click the plus sign or the follow button. Second, we'd love it if you could give us a 5-star rating while you're there. Finally, choose your favorite episode and share it with a friend.
We are so grateful to all of our listeners for your continued support helping Soul Stirred grow and ultimately inspire others through authentic connection. Don't hesitate to reach out with ideas, stories, or questions. We are always eager to hear from you. Our email and social links are found in every episode's show notes. Until next time, keep stirring your soul and embracing your journey.
Take good care of yourselves and of each other. Bye-bye.